There is a moment, right before you fall asleep, or right after you stop checking your bank account for the 100th time, when something in you goes quiet, and in that exact second, something out there starts to move. Nobody tells you this, but it's true. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the moment you stop chasing money is the moment money starts chasing you. Before we go there, I want to ask you for something small. If what I'm about to share lands in you the way it landed in me, hit subscribe now, not for me, but for the version of you that's about to remember something they forgot a long time ago. Because what you're about to hear isn't new information, it's old truth. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's where we begin. There's a woman sitting alone in a small apartment. It's the 1920s. New York City is loud outside her window, car horns, vendors shouting, the hum of a world moving fast, chasing dollars like they were the only thing that mattered. But inside that apartment, something strange is happening. This woman isn't chasing anything. She isn't hustling. She isn't refreshing numbers or making desperate calls. She's sitting still, almost like she's listening for something the rest of the world stopped hearing a long time ago. Her name is Florence Scovel, and what she discovered in that stillness would go on to change the lives of millions of people who've never even heard her name, because they only know the effect, not the cause. They know the coincidences. They know the lucky breaks. They know the moment the check arrived out of nowhere, or the job offer came the day after they finally stopped worrying. What they don't know is where it actually came from. And here's the strange part. Florence wasn't wealthy when she began. She wasn't born into money. She wasn't gifted some secret formula from a wealthy family. She started with almost nothing, an artist, then a writer, watching the same anxious cycle so many of us know too well, wanting money, needing money, fearing the lack of it, and somehow, the fear only pulling more lack toward her. Sound familiar? Most people spend their entire lives in that loop, wanting more, fearing less, working harder, getting more tired, watching the money come in, and somehow, mysteriously, watching it slip right back out, like it was never really theirs to keep. But Florence noticed something the rest of the world had completely missed. She noticed that every single time she got desperate, every single time she pushed, forced, gripped tightly onto an outcome, the outcome would slip further away. But the moment she let go, the moment she genuinely, quietly trusted, something would shift. Doors that had been locked for months would suddenly open. Strangers would offer opportunities she never asked for. Money would arrive from places she never expected. At first, she thought it was luck. Then she thought it was coincidence. But it kept happening, again, and again, and again. And that's when she asked the question that would define the rest of her life, and eventually, define a whole philosophy that people are still living by today, whether they know her name or not. What if the universe doesn't respond to effort, but to energy? Let that sit with you for a moment. Not effort, energy. Because here is the first truth Florence Scovel uncovered. And it's the one most people resist the hardest. Because it goes against everything we're taught about how success is supposed to work. Desperation repels, calm attracts. Think about the times in your life you wanted something so badly you could barely breathe. A relationship, a job, a sale, money to cover rent. Remember how tight that feeling was in your chest. Remember how you checked your phone every 5 minutes, refreshed your email, replayed conversations in your mind, tried to control every variable. And remember, be honest with yourself here, how rarely that frantic energy actually got you what you wanted. Now think about a time you truly let something go. Not gave up on it. Let it go. You stopped gripping. You trusted, and somehow, almost mockingly, that's exactly when it showed up. This isn't poetic coincidence. Florence Scovel believed and taught that this is law, not suggestion. Law, as real and consistent as gravity. She called it the law of non-resistance. And she said that most people spend their entire financial lives fighting the very thing they're trying to attract, because fear and desperation are a form of resistance, and resistance blocks the natural flow of supply. But if that's true, if calm really does attract money the way desperation repels it, then a bigger question starts to form, one that most people never even think to ask. If calm is the key, why does almost nobody feel calm about money? Why does the moment we think about our finances, our chest tightens? Why does opening a bank statement feel like bracing for impact? Why do so many of us treat money like a wild animal we have to hunt down, wrestle, and drag home, instead of something that could simply come to us. Florence had an answer for this too. And it's uncomfortable, because it means the block was never really out there. It was never the economy, or the boss, or the bad luck, or the timing. She believed the block was always inside, in the subconscious mind, in the beliefs so deeply buried we don't even realize we're carrying them. She used to say that the subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It doesn't judge the seeds you plant. It doesn't ask if a thought is good for you or bad for you. It simply grows whatever you plant, over and over, faithfully, without exception. And most of us, without ever meaning to, have been planting seeds of lack for years. I can't afford it. Money doesn't grow on trees. I have to work myself into the ground to earn anything. There's never enough. Every one of those sentences is a seed, and the soil doesn't argue. It just grows what it's given. This is where the story gets personal, because Florence didn't just teach this, she lived it, in a moment that would go on to define everything she wrote after. There was a woman who came to Florence during one of the hardest financial seasons of her life. This woman had lost her job. Her savings were nearly gone. She was behind on rent, and every single day she woke up already exhausted from worry before she'd even gotten out of bed. She had tried everything, sending out applications constantly, chasing every lead, staying up late, calculating and recalculating what little money she had left. And the harder she pushed, the worse things seemed to get. Doors that should have opened stayed shut. People who should have called back went silent. She came to Florence in tears, asking what she was doing wrong. And Florence asked her a question that caught her completely off guard. She didn't ask about the woman's resume. She didn't ask about her job search strategy. She asked, "What are you feeling underneath all of this?" Not what you're doing, what you're feeling. The woman admitted it. Fear, constant, low-grade, exhausting fear. Fear that there wouldn't be enough. Fear that she wasn't enough. Fear that even if something good came along, she'd somehow lose it again. Florence told her something simple, but it landed like a thunderclap. She said, "You're not lacking opportunities. You're lacking rest. Your mind is so busy fighting for money that there's no room left for it to arrive." She gave the woman one instruction. Stop pushing, just for a few days. Stop applying out of fear. Stop calculating out of panic. Instead, spend a few minutes each morning simply affirming quietly, without needing to feel it perfectly, without needing to force belief. A simple truth. Divine supply meets my every need, now and always. I release this into the hands of the infinite, and I rest. Not because saying words magically summons cash out of thin air, but because that sentence, repeated with sincerity, begins to shift the soil. It begins to replace the seeds of fear with seeds of trust. And trust, unlike fear, doesn't grip. It doesn't repel. It opens. The woman resisted the idea at first. It felt too passive, almost irresponsible, in a moment that felt like it demanded more hustle, not less, but she was exhausted enough to try it anyway. 4 days later, she received a call. A former colleague, someone she hadn't spoken to in over a year, reached out completely out of the blue, not because the woman had contacted her, not because of some perfectly worded application, but simply because the colleague had thought of her, for reasons she couldn't fully explain, and remembered a position opening up that hadn't even been posted publicly yet. The woman got the job. It paid more than her previous one, and she would later say that everything about it felt like it had been placed in her path rather than found by her effort. Florence saw this pattern again and again throughout her life, with client after client, story after story, and it led her to the second revelation. The one that changes everything once you truly absorb it. Money isn't something you chase. Money is something you become a match for. Read that again, because it's not a metaphor. It's mechanical. It's how the whole system actually works. Supply doesn't flow toward tension. It flows toward alignment. When your inner state is anxious, scattered, and gripping, you become energetically incompatible with the very thing you're trying to draw in. But when your inner state becomes calm, trusting, and receptive, you become a vessel supply can actually fill. This is why Florence often said that faith isn't passive. Faith is the most active force there is, because faith is what allows you to stop blocking your own good. It's not that calm people don't take action. It's that their action comes from trust instead of terror, and that difference changes everything about what they attract. So how does this actually work, day to day? Not as a philosophy, as a practice. The first application is simple, but it will feel almost too simple, which is exactly why most people skip it. Every single morning, before you check your phone, before the world's noise fills your mind, Spend 60 seconds in stillness, not planning, not worrying, just breathing, and quietly affirming something like, I release the need to force my good. My supply is already on its way to me. You're not lying to yourself. You're retraining the soil. The second application is watching your language, because your words are seeds. Whether you realize it or not, every time you catch yourself saying, I can't afford it, pause. You don't have to lie and say you can. Instead, try, I am choosing where my money goes right now. A phrase that keeps you in your power instead of your lack. The third application is releasing the grip on outcomes you cannot control. If you're waiting on a check, a client, a sale, a job offer, do the next right action and then let it go. Florence called this casting the burden. You do your part, then you release the rest into what she called the universal substance, trusting that it moves faster and more creatively than your anxious mind ever could. And the fourth, maybe the most important, gratitude for what's already here. Not gratitude as a performance, but gratitude as proof that you notice supply is already flowing, even in small ways. The coffee you could afford this morning, the roof over your head tonight. Every thank you whispered sincerely plants a seed that says, there is enough. And the soil, faithfully, grows more of exactly that. Here's what I want you to walk away with. Money was never chasing you away. You were chasing it away, not on purpose, not because you're broken, but because somewhere along the way, you were taught that struggle equals worthiness, that hustle equals safety, that gripping tightly is the only way to keep what little you have. Florence Scovel spent her entire life dismantling that lie, one quiet, patient story at a time. The truth she uncovered nearly 100 years ago is still true today, maybe more than ever. In a world that constantly tells you to hustle harder, grind more, chase relentlessly, stillness is not laziness, calm is not weakness, trust is not naive. They are, in fact, the exact conditions money has been waiting for you to create. So tonight, or right now, wherever you are, stop for just a moment, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and quietly say, even if it feels strange at first, I release the struggle. I welcome my good now. That single sentence, repeated with sincerity over these next few days, may end up being the seed that changes everything. If this video shifted something in you, even slightly, subscribe, because we're going deeper into these principles every single week, uncovering the real mechanics behind manifestation, prosperity, and the spiritual laws that quietly govern everything you thought was random luck. And if you want to understand exactly how to plant those seeds of abundance so they actually take root instead of fading after a few days, there's another video waiting for you right now that takes you even deeper into Florence Scovel's most powerful teaching of all, the one she considered the true secret behind every manifestation that ever came true. Click it, and let's keep going together.